Do you remember when you first wondered what was up in the sky? Now that you've grown up to become a tall child, do you wonder anymore? Here's a simple test to determine your coefficient of wonder. When someone asks you a question, do you immediately turn to your phone for an answer? Our performance is dedicated to you, that is to say, to all the grown-ups who were once children. Because after all, you are still a child within this space-time, regardless of your current height or radiocarbon age. Our story, the story of a little prince, is more about questions than it is about answers. So, a little bit of wondering is in order. After all, one of the greatest things about life is that it's all a great mystery. Our story begins not with interplanetary royalty, but rather with a young boy ready for a magnificent career as a visual artist. Let's meet him now.
When I was 6, I saw a picture of a wild beast being eaten by a boa constrictor. I was impressed. I did my best to draw a picture of my own. It looked like that. I asked the grown-ups if it frightened them. They answered, "Why be scared of a hat?" But it was not a hat. It was an elephant. The boa was digesting. I filled the rest in. So they told me to apply myself to history and grammar. I never asked them why. And when I could choose my own career, I took the path that brought me here. I fly. To be a pilot is my vocation. Now imagine, if you can, my plane and I, 1,000 meters high, while all around the stars conduct their nightly conversation.
It's rather unfortunate that our young pilot is surrounded by grown-ups whose imaginations lack the capacity to recognize his true genius of pen on paper. So Plan B is implemented. As you have just heard, Plan B involves becoming a pilot and exploring the wide, wide world by looking down on it from Earth's lower atmosphere. Only after a crash landing in the Sahara does our young boy-turned-pilot meet the little prince, who has come to this spot in the beautiful African desert from far, far away. This meeting and their shared journey which follows is filled with wonder, exploration, and discovery. Let's listen in on their first conversation, which is prompted by the little prince asking our pilot about what he does in his airplane.
Every other week, I fly from France, and every other week I fly back home. In between I kick my heels at the aerodrome. I play bezique, attend a dance, I take a desultory glance at some book I've never explored. I'm bored, but every week my heart beats fast. Out on the runway strip at last, the needle flutters on the flight controls, the engine splutters, and the aircraft rolls. Then a bang and a thump, and the hint of a prayer. I'm in the air, weightless, motionless, I climb into a world outside of time, where I hang in perfect poise. Trees and houses look like toys. I'm in the air now, my soul takes flight into a holiday of light. I hold the stars in the palm of my hand. The proud possessor of the sky, when I fly.
During the next 8 days, the pilot listens to the little prince describe his planet, the various asteroids he visits on his journey to Earth, and his encounters with a wise and powerful snake. And the funny thing is that as we learn about the way in which these two characters consider their lives and worlds, we learn so much about ourselves here and now. Speaking of the here and now, I'd like to share an aha moment of mine with you. In 2009, the Vatican's secret archives published a book that contained a very unusual letter written on birch bark by members of the Ojibwe Nation in Canada to thank Pope Leo VIII for sending a bishop to visit them. What are the first things that you do when you write a letter? You begin with a date and an address. In this case, if we're going with the flow, with the accepted, the traditional, and the most convenient manner of description, the Ojibwe would have written May 29th, 1887, Grassy Lake, Ontario. Here's their perspective on the letter's space-time. In the month of the flowers, where the water meets the grass. Kind of a different way to look at date and time. The story of our pilot and the little prince inspires the same kind of perspective shift that I experienced when I read about the birch bark letter. All these stories continually inspire me to spend time wondering, which is not easy to do in this day and age. And like our pilot, some of the greatest moments of wonder and discovery in my life have been sparked by people who are no longer here. As we hear from the pilot in his last aria from Rachel Portman's opera, The Little Prince, it's not easy letting go.
I looked around the desert, the loveliest place on earth. watch it closely. If you see it, stay a moment, wait a while beneath a star. And if a child arrives with golden hair, who laughs and disappears, be sure you tell me he's returned. I'll be consoled, we all of us will be.
With that, I'd like to thank you for your time, wish you many more answers that are really questions, and invite you to go forth and wonder. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.